Up guys, it's Saiyan here coming at you with another Dragon Ball CCG deck profile. And actually for the set 4 only decks, I have 2 decks for you guys. So you could already see my previous video about the androids, the villain slash alien deck profile. But I actually have another one for you guys, and this is coming from a very different angle. We are looking at a predominantly super deck which is supported by Earth cards. So let's have a look at it. Let's see what we got here. Right, so to start with, we have limited options. Obviously, this is set 4 only, so only cards from the Fusion set. We still run the 3 Zunamas. These are promos, but you can still run them in a format. Obviously, it's the card that came out in this specific set. And the 3 Dracula Men as well. I went through these guys in the previous video, so if you haven't checked it out, please do check it out. And I go into a little bit more detail about these 2 1-drops that we got here. But moving on to turn 1, we are running 1 Enin, 1 Bora, and we are running 2 Dendays. And the reason why we have it so diverse is because we want to have live cards. We want to have live draws. So I don't necessarily want to have that situation where I'm drawing a card and it's another card that I already have in play and there's nothing I can do with it besides charge it to chi. So I want some live draws. I want a little bit more diversity in the cards that I draw, and certainly also important is multifunctionality. So then they can give either to himself, or if I have another Super Warrior in play, a Dragon Ball, which can get me to that 7, which my opponent might be denying me, and then I can go in for the Wish. Bora is really good as an attacking warrior, then he becomes a very good support when he's injured. And even if he's moved to your Chi area due to any damage, so that could be showdown damage, that could be technique damage, then you can place a growth coin on target warrior you control with an earth symbol. And we have Annie in there, a really good support warrior as well, a 2/2, doesn't cost you any chi. And also if you feel like, well, you got too many supporters, then basically you can just move her to your chi area, gives you an additional chi, and you can draw a card. So that's really good. Now, we only run the 1 because obviously we are limited to 1 warrior per turn, and we're not breaking that in this particular deck. But Enin can still be a good little card if we are running short of cards. We might be wanting to just get some additional stuff into our hands and a little bit more chi. So these are our 1-drops. And then moving on to our 2-drops, we actually run 2 Videl. Videl is, again, an excellent attacker. She has toughness, and if she gets injured, she actually turns into a 5/1. So in every action phase, her +3/+0 is going, you can trigger it for free. And so if she's injured, she's actually becoming more powerful. She's an excellent, she's a really good head warrior in this particular setup. Running 2 Mutaitos for turn 3. This guy is amazing. Again, just really solid stats. Yes, it does cost 1 Earth Chi to be able to play it, but when he's removed to your Chi due to showdown damage, you can give 1 damage to target warrior an opponent controls with a turn cost of 3 or less. So not only a really well powered card, but also gives you benefit even if he loses in a match. Moving on, we also have 2 Trunks. We kind of need the Trunks because we want to fuse into Gotenks with this deck. We're not running any Gotenk specific techniques, but we want to be able to fuse into Gotenks either to stop our opponent doing showdown damage, or also for that Thrash 1 that the Gotenks has. And it's a strong warrior as well. It's a 7/0/4/0, so it's always worthwhile to have it down, particularly if you can then support it with some cards. And for that, we got Mutaitos, Dendays. You've seen a lot previously. Again, there's no point to put a Dragon Ball on Trunks because we don't have any tool technique cards as far as I'm aware to be able to cash in on that extra card, but it's just there really for the fusion. Also running 2 Super Saiyan Trunks and 2 Gotenks. Now, I thought I had 3 copies of Super Saiyan Gotenks, but I could only find 2. So I would normally run this in a 3/1 scenario because we already got the 2 GT Trunks in there. But because I couldn't find more Goten cards, I'm running just 2 more Trunks to give it an even better chance of me being able to bring it down turn 3. Now both these cards have the same ability, but for the other one's name. If you have one of these guys in the chi area, the other one will get -1 turn cost. And that also goes for Goten. It doesn't matter if it's the GT trunks or the Z kit trunks, you will get that benefit either way. And again, a very strong supporter, even if you don't fuse into Gotenks, which you actually might not want to do a lot of the cases with this deck. If you get these two guys down, these two guys are actually an 8. No, I know they don't have trash, but that's not necessarily always what you want or what you need. And I think having just a 2 of being an 8 is already strong enough on its own. We skip turn 5 and we move on to turn 6, and we are running this beast of a card. And I love this card, and I'm always looking for opportunities to be able to include the GT Super Saiyan Goku in any deck, because it's just so good. Whereas the regular GT Goku needs sacking a Goku, this actually doesn't need that requirement, making it obviously strictly better than that card. It has super heal, and it has an inbuilt heal effect as well, where you can discard another Goku warrior from your hand and you can heal this guy. And obviously, as we covered, you won't be able to have 2 of these in play because they have the same name. You can only have 1 Goku name character in play. You can only have 1 Goten name character in play. So if you have multiples in your hand, you might be like, okay, well, I'm actually not going to waste any of my pumps. I'm gonna let you have that that victory. Turn him down to a 5-0. Come your next turn, in your action phase, you keep him up as a head warrior. You discard this Goku. He heals up, and with the super heal ability, he gets a +1/+1 coin. So you actually managed to pump him up. So now he's an 8-2, and he will be an 8-2, obviously. Growth coins stay on the cards. So amazing card. I love this card. And then the creme de la creme, and a card that I haven't really ran in any decks, Ultimate Gohan. Now Ultimate Gohan comes into play damaged, or injured even, I should say. But he's actually stronger. As all the Gohan cards, he comes down. This one is the only one that comes down in injured, which is an 8-3. But also has super heal toughness, trash 1. Trash 1, super heal toughness, they're all valid abilities. So you can heal normally Gohan. Now we can't heal Gohan in this deck, but we can still thrash with him. We can still use him as a support card. We can still use him as a massive beater. I mean, he's an 8 power on his own. So that's just absolutely crazy. That is absolutely crazy. And again, as I said, I haven't really had the opportunity to put this card into any decks because it's not the best Gohan. I'm not gonna lie. But in the set 4 format, set 4 only format, this is a solid card. So one of the reasons why I wanted to build this deck is to include this guy. And then similarly to the Android deck, we have 3 sudden change cards. The reason why we run the 3 sudden change cards is because it is a really, really good flexible card that allows us to basically defend better. But what's important about this card, again, remember, is that you need to have a support warrior to be able to actually give the +0/+2 to that card. Also, what's very important as well to remember with sudden change is that if you run a set 4 only format, there is a very high likelihood that your opponent will be running it too. So make sure that you're aware of that, and make sure that it's not going to become a problem when you're running with sudden change, because you can run into it. Because it's obviously a generic chi, it is very, very easy to splash it in any deck, and you know, it can cause you some issues. Another reason why I wanted to build this deck is continuous die missile. It's an overlooked pump technique, and yes, it does have restrictions, but it actually is, in a way, almost as good as Powerful Heritage from set 5. It's the only straight up 5+ attack power technique card that we have in the game. And yes, you have to use it as an attacker. Yes, you have to use it in your strategy phase so your opponent knows what to expect. And also, your card then can't use any more techniques. The warrior that used continuous die missile cannot use any other techniques that turn. But it's still a +5/+0, guys, which is crazy. And from turn 3 onwards, for 3 chi, that is really good. Especially if you're looking at a limited format, it's just a really, really good card. We also run 3 Succeeded Talent because the deck is full of Saiyans. Actually it's not difficult to get it down. Also helps us to support the other Earth cards that might have a cost, and it gives one of our guys trash 1 until end of turn, so there you go. You can actually mill your opponent quicker. It's another 1 card that is actually really good, but there are better cards that you can put into a deck when you're working with all 5 sets, and that's probably one of the reasons why it's so overlooked. It's actually a really solid card. Of course, we have to run 1 DOTC, being set 4, absolutely. We have to have the DOTC in play. I also run 1 Fusion. Not that I necessarily want to fuse into Gotenks, but if I just want, let's say I have a Goten in play, it's turn 6, and I don't have any warriors, then the Fusion can get me a Trunks, and vice versa. If I have a Trunks in play, it can get me a Goten. So it's just a little, it's a very fringe search engine, but why not? Let's give it a go whilst we have it in there. And then for events, I have 2 copies of Training in the other world. Basically, you discard a card from your hand, and target warrior you control with a super symbol gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Another really good pump technique in a limited format, and I'm not suggesting you need to use this at all times, but definitely can be useful. Obviously, you can only use it as an attacker, so you will have like 3, maybe 4 goes to use it, with the time limit being on 3. But it is a very strong card. It's a pump event, so definitely worthwhile using it. And then finally, we got 2 copies of Proud Clan. Give 1 damage to your planet, and target Saiyan gets +3/+3 with a turn cost of 5 or above. So this is definitely geared towards you being used with Ultimate Gohan and the GT Super Saiyan Goku. And sometimes you just need to take that planet damage, and that might take you to a Thresh. And it could be that that 1 Thresh will win you the game. So definitely something worthwhile considering. The deck is quite technical because it runs in such a way that you really have to think about what you're going to play and what you're not going to play. You guys could see that there is literally no draw engine in this deck again. The best draw engine cards came into the game really with set 5, the final set. So none of the decks that we've looked at previously up until set 4 had like a major card advantage type of thing, but then set 5 just like completely fully loaded with all sorts of different draw engines. So that will be an interesting set to play with. I hope you guys enjoyed this deck. It's a very different take, obviously, in contrast to the alien villain deck that I've shown you guys previously. But to me, this is kind of like a cool little way to try out cards that I would have wanted to try out for a long time, and I haven't really found space for them in any of the constructed decks that I've been presenting to you guys. So this one has actually a lot of cards that I've always been intrigued with, and I'm looking forward to try this deck out. It is going to be an absolute blast, I'm sure. Guys, give me a like. Share the video with somebody who's also interested in Dragon Ball CCG. Let's discuss this deck, leave a comment below, and subscribe if you haven't yet, because I constantly have videos coming out, and I'm sure there is a few on the playlist that you will enjoy. But up until next time, Boss Saiyan, signing out.